But I want to make another run at making Captain America an official military position. Work with me, Sam. We'll show the world a better way forward.
Nate, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
You've produced a lot of Marvel projects over the years. You started with Cap Winter Soldier back in 2014. The one I want to talk about, though, is Eternals.
Sure.
When you produced Eternals, did you know back then that was going to be the vehicle to introduce adamantium?
No. No, full stop. I mean, look, we made that movie because I love those characters and we wanted to figure out a way to get them to the MCU. I think the end of that movie was very cool, and then it's a, hey, if we're going to revisit that idea that there's a celestial in the ocean, what's the best version of that? How do we make it so it both is an homage to that film, but also feels forward-looking, right? So when we started building Captain America: Brave New World, and we realized there was an opportunity to bring it back and be the nascent spot for where adamantium was found, we thought that was really cool because, again, you get to revisit a place that you've seen before, but it also speaks to what might be coming in the future.
Very much so. Is adamantium dishwasher safe?
I gotta believe it is. It's indestructible. It might screw up your dishwasher, but I think the adamantium will be fine.
And beyond Eternals, we also have a lot of Incredible Hulk lore getting pulled for this film. The leader, Red Hulk, everything with Thaddeus Ross, of course. Why is now the appropriate time to kind of shine a light on some of those storylines that feel like they were scrapped back in the day?
Yeah, part of it, honestly, the bulk of it was because we knew this film was going to have Thaddeus Ross become the new president. We like the idea of Captain America being put on opposite sides of issues from the president of the United States, the leader of the country that he represents. And we like the idea of Thaddeus Ross sort of continuing the arc from Civil War, where he was Secretary of State. And so, because you're starting to explore Thaddeus Ross and maybe some of the things that he wishes he could take back, including, the destruction of his relationship with his daughter, then we went, what else is back there? What else could we do? And I think, I think that Sam Wilson sees President Ross in a certain light. I think Betty has a certain relationship with her father, and I think Samuel Stearns has an opinion about Ross as well. And so it was less about revisiting that film specifically and more about building out the world of the new President Ross and exploring sort of where he was and where he now is.
We get to explore a lot more of Isaiah in this film, which I love. He was one of the most rich characters we had introduced in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but he was always paired in that show with Eli Bradley, his grandson. Why this time around just go with Isaiah solo and no Eli?
Yeah, there are early drafts of the script where Eli was in it, but we started to feel like there were too many characters to track, and we want to make sure if a character's in the film, they have something to do. And so we had to make the tough decision to just explore Isaiah and to see how Isaiah being pulled into Sam's world maybe affects him. We also wanted Sam and Isaiah, we wanted room to build up their relationship without a third party kind of commenting on it. And so this film is very much about establishing that Isaiah has become not only a mentor to Sam, but a training partner, right? Because he's a super soldier. I think it allows Sam to expand on his physical skills, but that relationship might not be the best thing for Isaiah in the long run.
Yeah, I'll never watch Capture the Flag the same.
That's right.
Or flag football, I should say.
That's right.
I want to flash back to your first project that you produced, that being Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
It's a busy month for Marvel. We have Daredevil Born Again coming out later in February. I remember hearing way back in the day that Penske truck that was driven, do you know where I'm going with this?
No.
There was a Penske truck that was driven in two separate scenes.
Oh,
took
that's
out
the
Jasper
one that,
Sitwell,
sure.
and also took out some bad guys in the Nick Fury highway chase.
Yeah.
The Russos were saying that their headcanon was the Punisher was behind the wheel. The Punisher is actually finally coming into the fold later this month.
Yeah.
Was there ever any substance to that?
No, that's crazy. I love Joe and Anthony, and Joe's a super fan too. He loves comics, but no, the Punisher wasn't behind the wheel of the Penske truck.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess maybe he'll drive it in Daredevil Born Again.
Who knows?
Maybe he's a U-Haul guy.
That's
after
right.
all. Who knows? You are kind of wrapping up with Marvel now. I know you still have Black Panther 3 on your slate. Denzel mentioned the other day in Gladiator 2 press junket that Ryan Coogler was writing a role for him.
Yes.
Is that going to be an original character or someone from the comics?
Look, I think if that manifests, which is, we're going to try, I think it will probably be somebody from canon. Who that is early days. We honestly haven't had really substantive creative conversations with Ryan, mostly because he's finishing his film Sinners, which is going to come out this year and it's going to be great. So again, it's too early to say, but obviously if if an actor of the caliber of Denzel Washington wants in, we're going to figure out a way to make that happen.
Yeah, and there's also been some rumblings about a T'Challa recast, possibly.
Yeah.
I know we have his son, who's also named T'Challa. We got the wide multiverse. There's a lot of T'Challa variants out there. Have we seen the last of the King of Wakanda as a grown-up character in the MCU?
It's honestly hard to say, and again, I've seen those casting rumors as well. None of them are true, not because they're not good ideas, but we just don't have any creative content yet to start thinking about. So, if a T'Challa came back in some way, we want to make sure we're doing it in a way that's thoughtful and doesn't feel like a gag. But too soon to say, to be quite honest.
Very much so. Another project you had on your IMDb, I don't know if you're still attached to it, Armor Wars, that being?
So that actually was, it's funny, people have asked me that. I've never been on that project.
Okay.
I will say again, that is not something that is happening right away. I never say never, but I think the attitude at Marvel now is to make sure everything we do is amazing. And we don't want to have too much stuff in the marketplace if it's not great. So, life is long. I don't think that's something that's going to be made right away, but it's up to sort of Kevin and the team to decide what they want to do with that.
Absolutely. Something I found fascinating about Brave New World too. I was saying this earlier today. It's the first time we're revisiting a Phase 1 title with a new lead completely. Iron Man has always only ever been Robert Downey and Tony Stark. Thor has only ever been Thor and Chris Hemsworth, even if Mighty Thor was a supporting character.
Sure.
Why do you feel so confident in having Sam Wilson at the front of this? And beyond that too, do you feel like this film kind of propels him to maybe start his own Captain America trilogy? Yeah,
I think so. That's the hope, right? We never want to count our chickens before they hatch. I will say part of why we feel so confident is Sam Wilson has been with Steve for so long that he understands what taking the mantle means, right? If you think about, he was with Steve in Winter Soldier, Civil War, he was on the run with Steve, he was in Avengers with Steve. He, more than anyone, understands what it takes to be Captain America, and hey, the man himself, Steve Rogers, gave Sam the shield. So to us, it feels like the natural progression for the character. I think Sam Wilson's Captain America is different than Steve's because he's human, he's not a man out of time, he's a counselor first, so I think the tools that he brings to the table are much different. But I do think, again, if audiences feel like we've done our jobs, there's opportunities for a ton more stories to tell with Sam Wilson as Captain America.
Yeah, I feel like we're just scratching the surface. This movie is phenomenal from what I've seen so far.
Sure.
Excited to see the finished cut. Nate, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks so much for coming out.
Appreciate you.
All right, man.
Make sure the suit's ready.
Tell me I don't make your old gear look brand new.
Who's saying that?
Everybody.